Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce, and today we're going to test out some cheap air rifle products, and hopefully they turn from cheap to inexpensive. This is one of those random red dots, one of those random cheap red dots from Amazon that cost, I can't remember how much it was, 20 or 30 bucks. This one was sold by, I think the company's name was called Hiram, and I believe Pinty also sells a version of this. Also, I picked up a airgun target right here. It's one of those resetting targets, which I think is pretty cool. I have no idea how long it's going to last. That's what we're going to test here today. I'm going to focus on only one or two plates up there to really put a lot of damage, focus my damage onto one plate. Well, it didn't stay up. Air rifles, they produce some of the most abusive situations, the most abusive environments for optics. Now, why is that? Well, the way these air rifles work, the big Springer air rifles, well, this doesn't have a spring, this has a nitrogen piston, but it acts exactly the same way. The way these work is that there's a big spring, it's like a small version of a garage door spring, big SOB in there. And when you cock the barrel back, it pushes back that spring. It's got a piston there, an air piston, pushes back that spring and locks it back there. When you pull that trigger, that releases the spring and pushes that piston, that heavy. It's got a fairly stout piston in there, air piston, and it shoots that forward, which puts momentum going backwards, which is traditional recoil like you'd see in a 22 or a 30-06. Not as powerful as a 30-06, but more powerful than a 22 definitely, because there's a lot of weight being shoved forward. And then, at the very last second, it hits a stop up here before it, of course, goes into the barrel. It hits a stop right up here, so all that energy going forward comes to an abrupt halt, and recoil goes this way. So, it basically, when you pull that trigger, it goes recoil and recoil. It's the weirdest thing, and any kind of optic that is put on an air rifle gets basically slapped in the face and then a backhand. It's like a pimp. As in all my reviews, I'm going to give you the good and bad of all the products being reviewed, because I do not believe there is such a thing as a perfect product. They're either built perfectly but way too expensive, or they're built to a price point and there's some cuts, there's some corners being cut somewhere. So let's talk about that. The Red Dot, the Hiram Red Dot, is built like a freaking tank. It's only 35 bucks and it's built very sturdily. Once I got it zeroed, it held zero. It held zero through all the punishment that I put it through that day, which included falling off a truck. It included about 150 rounds or so being shot through it. And then also during the zeroing process, which I'll talk about later. This little target stand. The good things about it is that, number one, it's only 15 bucks. Number two, it sets up very quickly. The whole thing just folds flat. It's just little hinge pins basically. You open it up, and well, actually that's facing me. It will face you like that. The target is reversible. So once you've really dented in those plates there, which will happen, which we'll talk about later, you just turn it around and it still works the same way. And you can beat the plate back flat again with extra target practice. And the final good thing about this target is that once I lowered the power level down to about 500 or 600 feet per second out of my CO2 pistol, it started working perfectly exactly the way it was designed to. And now let's talk about the bad aspects of the Hiram Red Dot. Number one was it took forever to zero this optic. It took freaking forever. At least 100 rounds of ammo to get this thing to zero and stay there. Now once I got it there, it stayed. But it was a wandering zero constantly, and I could never... when I thought I had it zeroed, No, then within 2 shots, it was off again. And it took about 100 rounds for me to feel confident that it was going to stay zeroed. And it did after that, though. The red dot is not that clear. The actual red dot itself is not that bright of a red dot. I even changed out the battery. I thought maybe they sent a weak battery or an old battery, or maybe I accidentally left it turned on at one point and it just drained it real quick. No, I put a fresh new battery in it and it did not matter. It's still a very dim red dot. Also, the optics, the actual glass itself, is not super clear. Now, it's not milk glass or anything of that nature. It's not plastic. It is actually glass, and it is clear enough. It is clear, it's usable. It's not nearly as bright or clear as my Bushnell here. This Bushnell is one of my favorite budget red dots. I have this on my store. It's a very big seller on Amazon. Actually, I think it's a best seller on Amazon as far as red dots go. So it's there for a reason. The Hiram just not as bright. It's sturdy. I can't guarantee that this will handle being on a Magnum Power air rifle. This I have experience with. This actually did handle it very, very well after it was zeroed. Negative item number 3 is that I had to buy a second mount to mount this red dot. Now it comes with normal rings. There's a 30mm ring, I believe, but they are set up for Picatinny rails. The vast majority of air rifles do not have Picatinny rails installed. They have a dovetail. And negative number 4 is not really a negative, it's more just a personal preference. And I don't like the longer size red dots there. I prefer the shorter red dot. If I'm going to use a red dot, I want it to be pretty tiny, not one of these big long suckers. If I'm going to put something like that on there, I want to have like a 1 to 4 power scope. And the negative aspects of this little target. This little target stand here. Number 1, it does not work with high power air rifles. Not at all. It just spins. It ends up being a spinner. So it still goes ding. It still makes a racket, and you can still see that you hit it, and it won't destroy it at all with the Magnum air rifle. But if you want to shoot 22 or high power air rifles, what I would recommend is something a little more sturdy, like this guy I've been shooting forever. Also, this guy comes with orange stickers that, of course, will blow off, will be completely shot off your stand in 5-6 rounds or so. So what I do is get orange marking paint, construction style orange marking paint from Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, even Walmart. I bet sells it. Now let's use that to mark your targets, and that works pretty well. I just spray painted this here not too long ago. I've not shot it yet, and it lasts okay. Again, it's cheap stuff, and it just goes on there real quick. You can use any kind of paint you want. This orange just really stands out and doesn't have any glare to it. This setup would be perfect for a backyard plinking range with kids, with family members, a family reunion or whatnot, something of that nature, in your backyard using a low to medium power air rifle setup. Say the Crossman Pump Master, that pump rifle, one of those, a CO2 rifle, CO2 pistol, something like that. That would be perfect for both this target and the red dot. I'll have Amazon links to both these guys in a comment box for the video, so take a look at that. I might also have a coupon code for you, so keep out a look for that if you like these products. Remember, those are affiliate links, which means it doesn't cost you anything extra to buy from there, but it does help out the channel, help me keep the lights on, and buy other things to review for you guys. Also have the Amazon store, of which I put all the gizmos and gadgets that I recommend and use on a daily basis. Well, as always, you guys have a great day. See ya.